Hello students, this is Mr. Clucky, and I am going to go over the final set of homework questions with you. These homework questions are on they're on lesson 11, and it's going to be on section 3 within lesson 11. And that section is all over the thermal properties of matter, specifically focusing in on phase changes, all right, energy and state changes. This is not lesson 10. So on this section, we had sections 1, 2, 3, and 6, all from lesson 10. All right, those we've already gone over in class. We have covered those. We've gone over the right answers. All of the right answers are also found in your book on the corresponding page numbers. So that's lesson 10. We've already gone over those questions. But what I want to go over is I want to make sure that you have the right answers for lesson 11, where we're looking at the energy and state changes. So the first one on there says, what needs to happen to a substance's energy in order for that substance to change state? All right. To answer this question, we need to know, well, what is a state change? So a state change can be from a solid to a liquid, or a liquid to a gas, or a solid to a gas. But in order for that to do it, it doesn't just happen automatically. Something has to happen. So the answer to this question is that a substance, all right, a substance needs to gain or lose energy. All right, in order for something to change state, to go from one state to another, that substance needs to gain or lose energy. Specifically, we're looking at thermal energy. All right, it's got to gain or lose energy, specifically that thermal energy. All right. So that's number one. And when we look at number two, this one says, why does a substance need a lot of energy to change state? All right, so thinking about energy is needed to raise temperature, right? We increase the kinetic energy to raise temperature. But why does a substance need a lot of energy to change state? Well, this answer is a little bit trickier. So when energy is added to a substance, to raise its temperature, like I said, the kinetic energy of the substance increases. Just kinetic energy. Remember, or recall that temperature is based on the average kinetic energy of a substance. So when kinetic energy increases, we're only increasing the temperature. We're not changing state. However, a substance does not easily change state, and that's because it needs a lot of thermal energy to overcome the attractions between particles. So the thermal energy goes into basically overcoming those interactions. When we look at, let's say, water, all right, if we had water particles, yes, we can increase kinetic energy of those particles. And if we increase the kinetic energy, the temperature is going to go up. But when we look at going to change state, all right, it needs a lot of energy because we have to overcome these attractions between particles. Particles are attracted to each other, all right? And in order for something to go from a solid to a liquid, remember, solid, they're vibrating in place, and liquid, they're sliding past each other. To get them to that part, yes, temperature has to increase, but in order for it to change state, like we saw in our lab, when we had both liquid and ice together, it wasn't still changing much in temperature, but instead, all of that energy going into it went in to change the state, right? It had to overcome the interactions or the attractions between those particles, all right? So thermal energy ultimately goes into overcoming those interactions. All right, this is the conclusion of your homework questions. All right, at this point, we should have answers to all of our questions. All right, and we just needed to get the last couple of answers for lesson 11, section 3, numbers 1 and 2.